Gotta do something to pass the time. I hate desk duty.
Oh, I didn't realize you were an opera buff. Polka. Yes, but opera.
Igor Stravinsky, Charlie Parker, the Beatles. The world of music has as many facets as the gem of life, each beautiful in its own way.
A quote from Don Schanke.
How'd you know?
Lucky guess.
Oh, that was a good one. Nice. Way to really set the tone here.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, stop that. You're going to get yourself going. And then where will we both be?
We're already in bed.
Welcome back, friends.
Welcome back.
Can you turn my headphone up just a little bit? Do. There, that's better. I can hear myself a little better. All right. Welcome back, friends. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We've had a really busy day. Matt's been pod labbing, working on the pod lab all day. And I decided since he had a project, I needed a project. So I've been on the fly painting the living room all day.
And the hallway.
So our one flexible space in the entire house is now unusable. So we are sitting in bed recording a podcast. But
Woohoo!
got to give the people what they want. And
We're adaptable.
What they want is another episode of Forever Night.
Always.
And this is episode 11, Hunters. Not to be confused with the season 2 episode, Hunted. This is people in the act of hunters. It is not the past tense of hunting. Hunters. And it is...
Completely different episode names.
Yeah.
Why would there be any confusion?
Obviously. And this is a skanky-centric episode. Oh, one of our most skanky-centric episodes. And this is the second episode in a row where we get like, hey guys, Nat's still in the cast. So here's like a 2-second glimpse of her. Hope you liked it. Bye.
Maybe she was busy.
Well, she's been busy. She was busy in Dead Air too, remember? She just popped up, had a one-liner, and then dipped. Same here. Oh, you know what? Nope. She's in it a couple times, but she's just not getting the screen time. It's like we blew all of her screen time on I Will Repay. And she's got to build up her mileage again before she can get back on the show. But we shouldn't do this yet because hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
Welcome to the Strange and Beautiful Book Club.
You can do it, Pippin.
Just go, Pippin. It's fine. There, look. Get there. Good boy. Pippin's like, why are you doing the recording thing in my sleeping place? Anyway, we open in a Toronto city street. There's a lot of people walking.
There's a lot of people standing, advertising themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Very obviously.
soliciting going on. Sex workers working. And they are just walking. They being Nick and Skanky.
And another person.
Yeah, they're just walking and talking with this vice cop whose name is
Anderson.
But no, what's his first name?
Hello, Mr. Anderson.
What's his first name? He's in it for like 45 seconds. So it's hard to remember his name. But apparently he's up for a promotion to daytime commander.
And apparently Nick is bringing the news.
Well, no, that he's been asked and he hasn't said yes. And so Stonetree asked
Oh,
them
they're
to
just
come
there
in.
to bug him about it.
Yeah, Stonetree was like, go chat him up because Don Skanky and Anderson were partners for 4 years. So they have some rapport. I think Stonetree's hoping that Donut Don Skanky can talk Anderson into accepting the position. And so we get a little banter about Donut. Where'd you get the name Donut? And we get, oh, hey, we should have a bad trans joke. Let's just throw that in there while we're at it, because it's the 90s.
It wasn't that bad.
You don't think it was that bad?
No, it was, believe it or not, that was Marvin a few months ago. Or
Yeah, Miracle of Modern Science.
yeah.
Well, he dead names him. Dead names her.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah. Oh, that's bad form. We don't do that.
I thought interpreted it more as Schanke. Your eyes are wandering.
Yeah.
Like the person that you're looking at isn't who you think they are.
Right. Well, it's a lot. It's a insensitivity taco. There's some less insensitive and more insensitive things all rolled up in the taco, but it all kind of tastes bad. So we'll just leave it at that. My question is, does everyone actually dislike Schanke and he just thinks they're all joking?
I'm gonna say yes.
Because his former partner is like, yeah, one of the reasons I'm turning down this promotion is because there's the slight chance I might have to work with Don Schanke again.
That was a sarcastic comment.
Right.
Because they used to be partners.
Right. But Schanke like laughs at it and Nick laughs. But it left me to wonder, how much is everyone really joking?
It's probably about 75%.
75% joking or 75% they don't like him?
Sure. Schanke is an unlikable character.
Is he? I mean, I know we complain about Schanke, but I don't mind Schanke, really. He's a product of the time.
He's very much a product of the time.
Yeah, he's of the time.
And at a shallow level, he is an unlikable person.
Yeah.
But we as the viewer get to see him on a deeper level.
Right.
So all of his more shallow interactions come off with, like, police and whatever, come off as negative. You know, the casual sexual harassment and
casual
racist jokes and whatever. That's the shallow level of Schanke interactions. But we get to see him when he's actually doing good stuff.
Maybe I'm retroactively applying softer, better Schanke from season 2 onto season 1 Schanke. That could
That's
definitely
probably
be it.
it,
Yeah. I have to liberate my notes now.
I'll liberate your notes.
There we go. We got him. Sorry, Pip. Sorry, man. Sorry. Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy Anderson. Why are you harassing that cat?
Because he's hanging out with us too much.
So,
And this will make him want some alone time.
so they spend all of like 2 to 3 minutes. Our whole cold open really is like a shallow chit chat with Jimmy Anderson. And just as he's saying, he's a dyed-in-the-wool vice cop now. He gets shot.
Bang!
One shot. Dead. And Schanke is devastated because that was his partner and his friend, and they went through academy together. And
Sniper rifle was super effective.
yeah. And we go straight from that to intro. So we go through our
Well,
whole...
no, hold on.
What?
Nick says, I'm going to go call into 911. And instead of going to their car, he goes up to the rooftop where the shooter was.
Right. Well, we don't know that. Because when we come back, Natalie's talking to Nick.
Nick says he's going to call in something.
Yeah.
We know he's flying away somewhere. Because he heard something or he's
Maybe he calls
flying
en
around.
route. Maybe when he's flying up to the rooftop.
Oh, he has his cell phone
he
in his
whips out
pocket.
his cell phone. So he's like commuting.
Sorry, that's why he drives a convertible.
They just take off at any moment.
No.
Oh.
Okay. On the cell phone. Oh, sorry for the wind noise. My top is down.
Got the top down.
Call when he's flying. Oh, sorry for the wind noise. My top is down.
Holy shit, you've cracked the code. There you go. That's how it
That explains everything.
Now I'm just picturing Nick flying, but also using like the giant 90s cell phone to see, like the antenna waving in the wind.
Or even better yet, the satellite phone with the giant, like a mini suitcase, like a mini briefcase with the phone on top.
Puts it in a backpack.
Yes, he's wearing it on a backpack, like Spider-Man does with his
Yeah.
webbing backpack.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
Except there's a cord coming out with a giant handset.
All right. Well, now that we've solved that mystery of Forever Night, you guys are welcome. You heard it here first. That's why he drives a ragtop. So he's talking to Natalie when we come back. And she's like, "Are you sure you only found one shell casing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I flew up to the rooftop. I found one shell casing. What's the matter? What about that are you not getting?" He's like slightly aggressive with Natalie. And she says, "Well, I'm just shocked because it's like he shot one time and the guy, that was it. It's all it took. One hell of a marksman."
He's a really good shot.
He's
he
a really
only
good
needed
shot.
one shot.
Yeah. And Nick's like, "Oh, okay." And Natalie's a little, they're a little combative. They're a little flirty, but this isn't a flirty interaction. This is kind of an aggressive interaction because she's accusing him of not finding something. Surely
Of
there's
not
more
looking
up there.
hard enough.
And then she's like, "Well, yeah. You sure you didn't hear anything before it happened?" And he's like, "No, I didn't hear anything. I was chumming around with my pals." And she's like, "Yeah, didn't hear anything, huh? Weird."
Which is interesting because she's always guilt tripping him for using his vampire powers
Right.
as part of his regular police duties.
She's like that until she wants him to use them. And then
Right.
she's mad at him for not using them. It's like in Dark Knight when she's constantly telling him not to drink blood, that's what's keeping him from becoming human. And at the very end of Dark Knight, he's like, you should not have given me a transfusion. I was really close." And she's like, "What was I supposed to do? Let you starve to death?" Which is it, Natalie? Is not drinking blood going to make him human, or is not drinking blood going to make him starve to death? Death is a form of mortality. So technically speaking, if he stops drinking blood, he can become mortal.
Yep.
Yeah. For a very short period of time.
Or if he's vulnerable to starvation, is he not already mortal by definition?
I mean, vampires are only ever functionally immortal anyway, because anything immortal is immortal. If you can be killed, you're mortal. He just won't die of old age. He has to die a violent death. That's all it means. And on that note, Stone Tree's back. But
Dropping knowledge.
Dropping some knowledge. Stone Tree is back. Not the angry man from the previous episode, whoever that was. It's his time of the month is over. The full moon season has passed. And Stone Tree, our Stone Tree, is back. And Schanke is like, "I'm going after this guy. I'm going to get him. He killed Jimmy in front of me. I'm going to get him." And Stone Tree's like, "Yeah, I got somebody once. Killed my partner. I put a hole in him the size of my fist.
I emptied my revolver into him.
Didn't
Left a
bring
hole
my
the size of my fist.
Didn't bring my partner back. Never does." It's just like, I'm glad Stone Tree's back. I missed his sage advice and calm wisdom.
He said, "You really made an impression on me." I thought he was going to say something like, "He's a real stoic man."
Yeah. But Schanke wants to hunt this guy down, and Stone Tree wants him to just go chill out, take some days off, recover from this. And Nick actually argues in favor of keeping Schanke on the case. He's like, "Cut him some slack, Captain."
Go back to my house. It's the thing to do. The best thing I can do, the thing I'm going to do, is hunt him down.
Cap, cut him a little slack on this.
You know, I really think I think he could help, and I think it would be good for him. And Stone Tree's like, "Okay, but everything is by the book. I don't want any wiggle room for someone to say that we didn't do something that we were supposed to do because you flew off the handle."
Which at this point, he should make eye contact with Nick and say, "Nick, by the book."
Right. Because which one of us generally doesn't? Oh, it's not Schanke. It would be Nick. If we go by the book, Captain, hours could seem like days. That's what I thought when he was like, buy the book.
Good old Star Trek reference.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they just pop into my head. Unbidden. They live there rent free. Isn't that what the youths say?
That's what the youths say these days.
These days. But we get some car time. This is their bonding time. They do their most like deep, introspective partner talking in the car when they're stuck in the car and they can only talk to each other and there's no cell phones. So
Yeah, they can't just scroll Instagram.
Right. Skanky can't be on the gram. He can't be playing Candy Crush. He's got to talk to somebody. Which will be horrifying for anyone born after, 1996. Born after the year this was filmed. But they literally just have to sit there and interact. And so Skanky thanks Nick for backing him up, for being a... Nick's like,
Well, that's what partners do.
that's what partners are for.
It's been years since I worked with Jimmy. Hey, thanks for backing me up with the captain. I appreciate it.
Well, that's what partners are for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we get back...
And, well,
Oh, okay.
Skanky's kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
partners.
Partners. I had a partner once. Not no more. So they get back to the precinct and they're getting computers. They're getting computerized records so they can look things up, and it's being installed as they walk in.
Yeah, and the office lady, I forget what her name is.
Norma.
Yeah. She's talking to somebody and like, oh, it's not going to be ready
Yeah.
until tomorrow.
A couple
or
of
something.
days or tomorrow we're going to have it up.
Skanky picks up his mail.
Yep. And he's got the police special, which must be some kind of like police specific.
It's the Chekhov's rifle of this episode.
Yeah, definitely. Which we hear about it now or never. I don't think we ever mention it again. But he says he's got a subscription, and the sucky thing about it is the subscription comes a week late. So if he wants the latest issue, he's got to buy it.
Right.
But he's also the kind of guy that has to have a subscription, so they get him both ways.
Right. Because he buys it the day it comes out, and he's still paying for his subscription.
Yep.
So he's getting 2 copies. So he immediately drops his copy of the Police Weekly in the trash.
In the trash, yeah, because he's already read it.
Yeah. And then there's a manila envelope.
With a photo inside.
A headshot, one could say.
It's a picture of Skanky with a target drawn on top of it.
It's like through the crosshairs of a rifle.
Yeah. And he's like, holy shit, he was aiming for me. And Stone Tree's like, no. If he was aiming for you, he would have hit you.
Yeah, he could have got you
Yeah.
anytime.
No. He was aiming for the other guy, and now he's aiming for you.
Nick says he took out Anderson first, and you're next, but he wants to make you sweat first.
Yeah. And so Stone Tree actually switches from calling Skanky to calling him Don. Did you notice that? He goes, Don, you still got that cabin up north?
You're right. I didn't really pick up on that.
Skanky's like, yeah, I do. I was like, well, you should probably send your wife and kid up there. Myra and...
I don't think they said the kid's name.
She has a name, but we don't say it often enough for me to remember right in this very moment.
And he
Jenny.
says Jenny.
Okay. Myra and Jenny. And so
and if you're smart, you'll join them.
yeah. And Skanky's like, well, good thing I'm not smart then.
I was about to make the same crack.
That's why we work, honey. You're my missing puzzle piece. And Nick's like, Skanky, you can't seriously be thinking you're going to stay here and fight. And Skanky's like, dude, you had my back 5 fucking minutes ago. And Nick's like, yeah, that was before you got a letter in the mail saying that you're the next target. And Skanky's like, seriously, you can't tell me you don't understand what I'm feeling right now.
Flashback!
So Nick's like, I do. His feelings are somewhere over in the left corner of the room. He's got to like drift.
They floated up toward the ceiling over there by that overhead light.
He's got to spot him. So once he pops that thought bubble, it's a flashback. And they are running from hunters. And it's LaCroix and Jeanette and Nick on horseback.
And I didn't know that they had smoke machines with that much horsepower.
Yeah. So there's a movie called Near Dark, which we're going to do Near Dark in February. The second full week in February, we're going to be doing Near Dark. But they have the same effect where they do the smoke billowing up from around them, but they had actual like tobacco smoke emitters.
What?
Yeah. And so there's one actor who's really young and it made him throw up. Like being immersed in so much tobacco smoke made him throw up. Yeah. So I don't think that's what we've got here.
That's probably not allowed anymore.
No. It's like in Dune, the like 1980s Dune. When they're running
the
over
battle scene.
Yes.
Yeah, with the tire fires.
They literally lit tires on fire to get the heavy smoke that rolls across
and then
the
they
battlefield.
never stop burning.
No.
Nope.
They're still burning.
Never light a tire on fire. It doesn't stop.
Not even for a sci-fi apocalyptic battle.
Which it worked. It was a very impactful setting.
Yeah.
For this film scene because it's this thick, cloying black smoke.
Yeah.
It looks great, but
can you imagine the smell?
The tires are still burning.
Even when you go to a playground and they have chunked up tire mulch and it's a hot day, it's got that off-gassing smell.
Yeah.
Could just imagine what it have smelled like on the set of Dune after they lit all those tires on fire.
Good thing they did it in like the Middle East.
Well, anyway, we did a flashback just like Nick did. We looked off to the right corner. We just lapsed into a whole bunch of sci-fi stuff. Oh, and my horror movie, which was Near Dark.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're back. There's a lot of smoke. I don't know how they're doing the smoke, but it's not that bad. They're like running, and all three, LaCroix, Jeanette, and Nick, are just like...
Yeah, whenever
a
their
smoke trail.
cape kind of billows up, there's kind of a burp of smoke coming out.
Yeah, I don't. Anyway, it's because it's daylight and they're being chased by these hunters, and they clearly have been unable to find like shelter because they're being pursued, and so Jeanette almost doesn't make it.
Nick has to save her,
and LaCroix's like, "Leave her. She can't hack it. Let's go. We can't be going back to get her." And Nick goes back and gets her, and they end up in this like cabin-y thing, which
it's a barn.
Yeah, I always cabin-y thing. So I always like when we emphasize daylight in a vampire show where they're allergic to daylight, where we get like that small amount of smoke so we see the light rays. So we make the sun feel hostile, which is what we do in this scene.
Right, you physicalize it.
Yeah, so we can actually see the light streaming into this room. And they block the door, and they're like, well, I really hope that sending the horses on will fool them. And immediately somebody bangs on the door, and LaCroix's like, yeah, I really think that worked. Oh,
they shot him through the door.
That's right, they shoot
and LaCroix drops to the ground, and then he says, I think they just answered your question.
He's like, because they fucking shot me. And then we go back. Whoop, 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 back to real time. And Nick is sporting his red suit jacket and black t-shirt, which is there a more 90s fashion combo than the blazer and t-shirt?
Is this the bacon shirt?
No, not yet.
Oh,
It's
t-shirt.
later.
Okay, yeah.
He's got a black shirt on. But is there a more 90s fashion combo than the like relaxed t-shirt and a blazer over top?
No,
I don't think so. And he's taking Schanke to a safe house. And so it's like a motel.
It's a motel, yeah.
So they take him in. There's a cannon fodder. I don't know what his real name is. Carruthers?
Will Struthers.
Struthers. Okay. Struthers. Cannon
poor
fodder.
little Will Struthers.
He's just there to prove the situation is
He's
serious.
a red shirt.
Yeah, poor red shirt guy. So Nick has a little heart to heart with him. He's like, you're going to be keeping this guy from finding Schanke, and you're going to be keeping Schanke from trying to dip. And Skanky's like, you're not talking about a 6-year-old here.
He's gonna be a bit of a problem, Struthers. You're gonna have people coming after him and him trying to get away from you.
You're not talking about a 6-year-old here.
We could debate that, Schanke. But do me a favor, okay? Stay put. Promise me.
Yeah.
And so Struthers says he's ordered Chinese if everybody wants to stick around. And Schanke, referencing cherry blossoms, in which he mentioned that he likes Moo Goo Gai Pan in a show of cultural sensitivity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's like, Moo Goo Gai Pan. Struthers like, hell yeah.
With
So-
egg rolls and
with
noodles.
egg rolls. And so Skanky's like, Nick, I know you got places to be, but can you join me for an egg roll? And Nick's like, all right, I will, but I'm not going to eat anything.
I'm just going to watch.
I'm just going to watch you eat. Cool. So then we kind of, well, we don't see the eating, but we kind of cut to a empty Chinese food container on the bed. And in the meantime, someone has pushed open the bathroom window.
Right. We get a like POV from someone sneaking through the parking lot
Yeah.
up to the bathroom window and preparing some plastic explosives.
Yeah. So we're cutting between them chit-chatting in the living room and somebody preparing the bomb in the bathroom. And so Schanke is reading the classified ads from the police special and making everyone wildly uncomfortable, whether he realizes it or not. And Nick is finally like, okay, so that was enough male bonding. I'm going to go work on the case. You guys have fun. And so Nick leaves. And Schanke picks up the TV guide, which is the little booklet he picks up. And it was a weekly publication that told you what was on at every hour on every channel. In case anyone was wondering, that's what he picks up. It's the TV guide. That he flips to the page and he's like, ooh, was it Kitty Cat Wrestling or whatever on the...
Foxy Wrestling on the Kitten channel.
Yeah. He and Struthers are both
he and
like...
Struthers are both excited
"Yeah."
about that.
Yeah, they have like a dude look. And Struthers is like, yeah, I'll go turn it on.
But first, he has to go use the bathroom.
Right. So as soon as he turns on the bathroom light...
Boom!
Kaboom. Just as Nick gets out to his car. And so he gets to turn around and go, Schanke!
It like with firelight flickering across his face.
Yeah, glinting off of his golden curls. Yeah. So Schanke somehow has survived. But Struthers, unfortunately...
I wonder if they had any like outtakes where Nick turned around and was like, Schanke!
Probably. There's quite a few outtakes where Geraint is doing just like tons
Being
of
goofy.
factor. Yeah, being goofy. I have a feeling he's a pretty funny guy. So I don't know. I imagine he was. Some of these scenes, it would be really hard to take seriously. So that's not one. I can see it. I could believe that he's upset that Schanke got blown up. But Schanke didn't get blown up.
You could have made that a really good joke if you went out for Mexican and you blew up the bathroom.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know where this is going, and I don't know if I'm going to have to cut it out. So,
Taco Bell sponsor.
wow. Okay. I got to refocus now.
Okay. So bathroom blows up.
Yeah.
Schanke!
Schanke. Right. And so,
then he runs in for Schanke and pulls him out.
yeah. And Schanke survives. And the police are
And
there.
we establish that Struthers didn't make it.
I know. He's like, I got to go back for the kid.
The kid's done!
Nick's like, the kid's done. They'll go back for the kids. Okay. And so then we cut to the ambulance has arrived. And Schanke is sitting there just bemoaning the fact that the only reason he survived is because the mattress covered him and he didn't get the brunt of the explosion and blah, blah, blah. And Nick postulates, somebody had to know where we were.
Somebody knew police procedure.
And the only person that could be would be police officer.
Yeah, someone in the department.
Right. And Skanky's like, nope, I refuse. I don't receive that. He's like,
I'm not receiving that.
I'm not receiving that kind of negativity right now. He's like, nope. Somebody could have just followed us. And they caught a lucky break and figured out we were here.
That's what I'm going with.
And that's what I am going with. And, but regardless, where can I hide? If it's a cop, what can I do? Where can I hide? I got nowhere to go. And Nick's like, oh, I know a place.
Nick's got resources.
Poor Jeanette right? I hope
You mean Janet?
I hope Jeanette and Nick are just getting some on the side, and that is why she feels so generous every time he asks her to do something. It's the explanation that I want to believe is true. So that's what I'm going to go with. Because Jeanette's like,
Well, that was your faction, right?
yeah. Do you want me to talk about? You don't want to talk about what fact that
I just saw the comment
the
on the
Forever
Instagram
Night
post.
the Forever Night factions are an entire podcast all in and of themselves. They were nuanced, and I don't want to hear any complaints about them at all because
No complaints. Just
thank you. All right. Anyway, so yeah, the Immortal Beloveds, which was the one I have always ascribed to, which is someone who wishes that Nick and Jeanette would get back together. Or in this case, believes Nick and Jeanette are together. And that is why Jeanette lets Schanke stay at the Raven. Because she's like, oh, no. And Nick is like, what I'm hearing is yes.
well, then I'm not coming over Thursday.
She's like,
Oh, Nicola.
she's like, fine. And we get a little bit more flashback, which is LaCroix and Jeanette couldn't hold their shit together, and Nick ended up killing all of these hunters.
No mercy, Nicholas. No mercy.
This is the moral of this flashback, which I like
Nick
this
is
flashback
ruthless.
a lot better than I like last week's flashback. That's a low bar, but I do like it a lot better. And so Nick like pulls one of them through the window, drags him into the shadow, and kills him. It's just being a ruthless vampire guy. And so Jeanette remembers that a little bit too in the episode. So part of our flashback is Nick, and part of our flashback is Jeanette. But LaCroix is like so excited in the flashback because Nick is being exactly the vampire that LaCroix
So
wants him to be.
in Jeanette's flashback, where she's watching Nick, and he kills the guy, and then he kind of stands up and talks. He's talking exactly like LaCroix.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that is partly Jeanette's perception of Nick, or if Nick was still in his like evil phase where he was still kind of under the influences of LaCroix, that he was actually acting like LaCroix.
Yeah. Well, I think in that moment he was sort of channeling LaCroix. That's what we're supposed to get. Nick's morality is a little bit peak and valley. We get peaks and valleys throughout his life. We're probably in a valley, is what I'm guessing.
In the flashback.
In the flashback. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, right now, we're peaking right now.
Yes, because he killed people.
Right.
A bunch of them.
Like a bunch. Like a bunch. All of them. But Schanke is at the Raven, and he immediately leches on somebody. And Nick is like, okay, Schanke, listen. We all know you're a ladies' man, but can you fucking hold it together for me and not do anything stupid?
Skank, although we all know you're irresistible, do me a favor. Keep your hands off the women. Yeah, that's okay. Take it easy.
And Skanky's like, yeah, totally. My God, like I would ever do that. Right.
Oh, Skanky.
Right. So then we immediately, or more or less immediately, cut to Schanke dicking around with the Raven. Like he's in the empty dance room and he's jumping up and clinking the glasses.
This is Skanky's filler material.
Yeah. Yeah. This is his, and he's making weird like dance gestures, and he goes over and leans on the bar, and he looks over and there's a phone. And then we cut to Nick and Natalie are at Nick's apartment, and he's got a laptop open.
You mean a portable box?
Yeah, an old school laptop.
Yeah.
And so he's going through records, and she's helping go through records because they're trying to figure out who in the past had a beef with both Schanke and his partner.
Right. So they're reviewing all of the cases they worked together.
Yeah, and we get this really sweet moment where the phone rings, and Natalie picks up the phone and just puts it up to Nick's ear without either
Right, and then
one
he
of them.
just clamps it in his shoulder.
Right, without either one of them breaking what they're doing. They
Yeah.
both continue to do what they're doing, but she just smoothly hands him the phone. And of course it's Skanky. And Nick is like, Skanky, we've already talked about this. You can't leave. But Natalie makes a joke because she suggests somebody, and Nick is like, "Oh, it's just a low-level pimp. He doesn't have any connections to Skanky." And Natalie's like, "Are we sure about that?" And Nick doesn't think it's. She's like, "It's a joke. Come on, it's funny. There's better things I could be doing with my day." It's season 1. Skanky is a little bit sexist, yeah. And Nick gets a line about like Skanky's an animal in a cage.
Oh no, he says I feel like.
Well, first he talks about
after,
he's an animal in a cage, and the longer he stays in there, the more dangerous he gets.
Yeah,
And then we cut to Skanky.
They hang up the phone.
Well, no, Skanky sees someone walk by, sees a woman walk by, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever, Nick. Okay, bye."
He's like, "I'll be here. Bye."
Bye.
And then Nick says,
So the animals are restless, are they?
Why am I suddenly feeling like I put him in the wrong cage?
Because of course he has to chase this woman. And so he heads downstairs where there's cabinets lined up on the wall and a coffin on the ground. And he's just about to open one of the cabinets when Jeanette catches him. And Jeanette is wearing this like capelet thing. And she's like, you can't be down
It's
here.
her leisure wear.
No, I mean, Jeanette's leisure wear is everyone else's formal wear.
Yeah.
It's just facts. And so she catches him snooping, basically. And she's like, you got to go. You can't be down here. Let's go upstairs.
Is that a real coffin?
She's like, oh, yeah, we cater to the occasional fetishist. Which works because Skanky's like, oh, yeah, gross. And he just leaves.
Okay, so when Jeanette and Nick are talking about Skanky staying at the Raven, Jeanette makes a comment about, you know what we will have to do if he finds out about us. Is she implying that if Skanky discovers vampires, that they'll have to turn Skanky into a vampire, or that they'll have to kill Skanky?
He'll become a permanent member of the night shift.
Ah, gotcha.
I think either kill him or turn him. Actually, you know what? I think we're like 4 or 5 episodes from finding out the answer to that question.
Okay.
Because there are actual consequences for people that find out for people who find out about vampires.
That aren't Natalie.
That aren't Natalie. Yes.
Does Jeanette know about Natalie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Remember they
Nick
met.
vouched for her.
They met in the episode where Nick did the thing where he like licked Jeanette's neck and they were about to get it on. Remember that one?
I remember
And
that
Natalie
now.
walks in and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. And Nick's like, no, come on. It's fine. We were about to.
This is just a normal
this is-
hangout night for us.
This is Thursday. It's fine. Come on, Natalie. And so that's when Jeanette's like, oh, I've heard so much about you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not far from answering your question, but since I am trying to live a spoiler-free life, I'm not going to tell you anything about it. And so we're back to the precinct, and the computers are up and running.
Hooray!
Huzzah! Which Matt thought it was really funny. The IT guy was wearing like a lab coat
Why would an IT guy wear a lab
'Cause
coat?
they're
That makes
scientists.
no sense.
because they're scientists. Well, it has the business name on the back. So maybe it's like the nerd herd or whatever the
The
Oh,
police
for Chuck.
department's
yeah,
IT division.
right. Or just
It looked like it was just like overlapping wavy lines. It didn't look like text to me. It just looked like a decorative thing across the back of the lab coat.
it was probably supposed to be like a business logo, like a computer
Anyway.
contractor. You know, at the time, computers were sensitive. Kind of wear a lab coat, can't contaminate.
Okay,
them.
computers in like the 70s, yes, clean room, absolutely, because they were the size of a room. But in the 90s, anyway, Nick's talking to Norma, and
Yeah.
she's printing out just a stack of pages.
Yeah, she goes, this is the life and times of Skanky and Jimmy Anderson.
And then 16596. That's your badge number, right?
Right, Nick?
Yeah, but don't worry about it.
Don't.
Thanks for this. I'm gonna get going. Hey, there's and so then we see her type it in on the screen.
Yeah.
And hit enter, and it just says Nicholas Knight, no files found.
Yeah. And she's like, oh,
That's weird.
It's weird. There's nothing here under your badge number. And
No medical history.
she's like, well, what precinct did you work at before this? And Nick's like, oh, it's actually, you know what? I got lots, oh God, look at the time. That's so weird. And then he
He blusters his way out of this
and
interaction
he does
pretty
the
well.
thing that I do every time I need to get out of a situation, which is just, he kisses her. Every time Matt is questioning something, I don't need him to question it. Just kiss and run. And so that's what he does. He's like, thanks, Norma. And he just leans over, plants one on her. Pow, right in the kisser. And then he dips. He's like, peace, gotta go. And then he calls, Skanky's talking to Jeanette at the Raven. He's like, Janet. She's like, Jeanette, please. Please.
You see, I am what is referred to as a man of action. You see, Janet.
Jeanette, it's Jeanette, please. Jeanette.
My apologies, Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Which I love every time Jeanette and Skanky talk to each other because they are the most unlikely characters to ever meet in real life. Right? Without Nick,
Right,
they
because
would never
conversationally,
overlap.
Skanky is so oblivious
Yeah.
to people's reactions to his own bullshitting.
Yeah. And Jeanette never lies to him. And he just never gets it. It's like how Nick never lies to him and he just doesn't get it. Or he gets it and he just has accepted Nick is some sort of benevolent supernatural creature that has chosen to be his partner. And he doesn't question it beyond that. But he does get lots of unhelpful advice from Jeanette. Because at this point, Skanky's feeling a little bit
Cooped up
and useless. And it's the last thing that Skanky likes to feel. Or as he tells Janet, he's
I'm
a
what
man
they
of
call
action.
a man of action.
Sorry. This is such a better episode than Dead Air. We had so much fun with this episode. Yeah, and apparently Nick's brilliant distraction techniques didn't work on Norma.
It didn't work.
Because she's still a little bit preoccupied with the fact that Nick has absolutely no records whatsoever.
Right. Nick is just hanging out in the precinct and he uses his vampire hearing.
Yeah.
And hears Norma talking to Stone Tree about how there's no records.
She's like, according to our database, Officer Knight doesn't exist. And Nick's like, shit, this is going to cost a lot of money.
So then he calls Jeanette.
Yeah, he calls Janet.
Because anytime he has a problem, Jeanette is there for him.
Right. He's like, I need a favor. And she goes, you better be careful because you're using them all up at once.
For this week.
Yeah, well, for this week. This could be a Tuesday and Thursday week, if you know what I'm saying. So
It cost him extra, double the price.
Double the price. So apparently he needs somebody named Merlin.
Larry Merlin.
Larry Merlin. No relation. To the mythical Merlins. But he needs Larry Merlin.
Is that the South England Merlins? The Camelot Merlins?
Later, this is going to be Aristotle, which you're going to like Aristotle because he has hard drives in his office. So his whole wall is lined with like spinning reel tapes. Yeah, you kind of like Aristotle. Oh, but then we get some filler, which the last several episodes have all had filler. I don't know if this was like I'm trying to think of like what in the 90s would have inspired them to have these long patches of just rehash. Oh, you know what it might have been? If you had come back late from a commercial break or you'd missed part of an episode, this is a good recap before we get to the climax.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with the voiceover.
Yeah, because he's rearranged his apartment because in the last couple episodes, his piano was over by the refrigerator. It's moved a bit because in I Will Repay, when Natalie walks in and she's giving her impassioned speech, he like collapses onto the piano bench and he's behind the pillar that's directly in front of his refrigerator. So at that point, the piano's over there. And also his motorcycle just gets around the room. His motorcycle
Well,
may
he
actually
uses
just
it.
be like a...
He drives it around. If he's sitting on the couch and he really has to go to the bathroom really bad, he rides his motorcycle.
I'm sorry, but Nick Knight does not shit. There's no... It's not canon.
Well, something has to happen to the blood.
Sometimes he's working on the microphone. Or sometimes he's working on the motorcycle. There's like 1 or 2 scenes where he's working on the motorcycle, but I don't ever think the motorcycle
Maybe the
leaves.
motorcycle has to go to the bathroom.
Maybe it's metaphorical.
Does this motorcycle run on blood? Is it a vampire motorcycle? Did Nick turn something else into a vampire?
I have never understood the purpose of this motorcycle. I think it's ambiance. Or maybe it's to explain all the leather jackets.
It's the aesthetic.
It's the aesthetic. He just owns it and it sits there. Sometimes it's over by the elevator. Sometimes it's directly behind his like chair that's adjacent, that's kitty corner to his couch.
Yeah.
Sometimes he sits on it as like a piece of furniture for his pensive moments. He sits on the...
Well, it's easy to rearrange it when you can just pick up the motorcycle with one hand.
Or just roll it.
No.
I don't know. I'd love to know. If anybody knows what the fuck the purpose of this motorcycle was, except for just decorative.
Garant, if you're listening.
let us in. What was the motorcycle for? Because it's a consistent prop, which one of the things I like about this show is we use consistent sets. And they feel very lived in,
right?
Because
and the wardrobes
they change.
You mentioned,
yeah, and they recycle wardrobes, so it ends up making the character feel like a real character because they rewear outfits. They have like favorite shirts or whatever that they'll use over and over again, or they'll wear the same jackets or whatever. Or like Schanke has a duck lamp, and we see the duck lamp a couple of times.
I've seen the duck lamp.
So there's just like, it makes it feel lived in. So this was a choice. I mean, putting this motorcycle in here was a choice. And it had to have meant something. It had to have a reason for being there because it's in the set. But I don't know what that is. So anyway, questions for the ages. We should probably get back to the episode. This is why we don't record in bed. Because it just inspires a lot of tangential conversation.
Yeah.
Don't you think so, Pip? Whatever, he's fallen asleep. Oh, where were we? Oh, yeah, he's rearranged his apartment. And
we were in the filler.
Yeah, he's like playing the piano with one hand and sticking his fingers in a candle flame with the other hand, which is like flirting with
death,
I guess. And, I mean, he's not laying around playing chess, so we've got that going for us. He's not throwing tarot cards at the camera, which we've got going for us.
I meant to highlight... when he goes in to rescue Schanke, he's really putting himself at risk into the burning building.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because we've established that fire is one of the things that, fire bad. You don't like fire. You don't even like fire in a fireplace. We have to, do the dramatic. Turn away. Turn away. We need to film ourselves because I do so much physical gesturing with...
And I smack the microphone so often.
Well, you know what? You are better. You have gotten better, and I meant to tell you that.
Thank you.
You also don't adjust it as often. So, just want you to know. I haven't heard a microphone smack in a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, he does the, normally. But he did. He went in to try to rescue Schanke. That's a very good point. Good job, sir. Thank you very much for pointing that out. But during this filler, we're also getting the bad guy glimpsing. So, this is our first actual images of the bad guy, except for the fact that he was the...
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we watched this episode a few weeks ago. Rachel was just watching random episodes.
As I do.
And when we finally had the reveal of the bad guy, I'm like, hey, that's the that's the database guy in the lab coat. And Rachel's like, nah, no, it's not. Whatever. Anyway, so we watched it tonight. Like, I'm gonna check. So I queued up the scene where we see him working out, and I queued up the scene of the IT guy in a lab coat, and it's the same guy.
Yeah.
And that's how he knows he is working in the police department. He's the database admin. He has access to all the police information. That's how he knows where they take Schanke.
Yep. Which this guy looks like the Renta version of the guy who played Moon Knight, the guy who was also in Star Wars.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he looks like the poor man's Oscar Isaac.
The Renta version.
Okay.
I mean, he's not bad looking. But the first time I saw him, I was like, that's not possible. It's not him, but it does look a little bit like him. But we are getting our first like images of him. He's doing like a upside down.
Which that was kind of a 90s trope, that inversion was like a really hardcore like physical training thing.
Yeah.
Nobody does it anymore.
Batman did it. In the Bruce Wayne, the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Okay, like I said, it was a 90s thing.
Because I was like, oh,
That
he's taking
inversion was a hardcore physical
Yeah.
training exercise. That was in the 90s, honey.
I know. Oh, I was
Okay.
just pointing out that yes, you are
Oh,
correct.
okay.
It was also appeared in this other thing that I have seen.
Yeah.
Because that's the theme of the episode is random asides. Our episode, not this
Yeah.
Forever Night episode. There's
Gotcha.
very few random asides in this Forever Night episode. But as we're getting some bad guy.
Okay, so we see the
he
guy.
mentions Alan
hang-
Smithy. He calls and says he's
Oh,
checking
yes.
on a ad that he placed.
A classified ad
A
that he
classified
placed
ad by Alan Smithy.
in the Police Special Weekly.
Yeah, which Alan Smithy, I was like, isn't that name that
Yeah.
gets
And so
a
I
movie
looked
gets
it up.
attributed to them?
It's a pseudonym.
Yeah.
They stopped using it at some point, but it part of the DGA, Directors Guild, whatever.
Yeah.
If a director was like, I don't want to be associated with this movie as the director, they would have to go like in front of a committee at the DGA and can make a case that they were not given freedom for creative control,
Yeah.
and so they don't want to be associated with it, and so then they would officially change the director's name to Alan Smithy.
Yeah. It was like, I didn't get enough creative control. This doesn't reflect my vision.
Right.
I don't want it.
Or
I don't
my
want my name on
abilities,
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, supposed to be an Easter egg for film people.
Yeah. And this is why we've been talking so much about the police special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's put an ad in the police special. And Nick has decided that brooding in the apartment is he's not feeling brooding in the apartment today. He's got a brood on the run. So he starts driving and brooding.
Yeah. So now we get some filler while he's just driving around. But we're listening to a new song.
Yeah. It's not The Night Calls My Name. It's Touch the Night.
Touch the Night.
Jeanette likes
Which
to touch the night.
any of these songs, you put a K in front of the night, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like fortune cookies when you add in bed. You
Yeah.
didn't catch my joke.
I
Did you hear it?
caught your joke.
Yeah, Jeanette likes to touch
Jeanette
the
liked
night.
to touch the night.
You didn't
Yeah,
laugh. I laughed.
you laughed enough for both of us.
Well, thank you so much. But this is this driving around. He's actually alternating between coats. Sometimes he has his like black cloth coat on.
Multiple filler scenes.
Sometimes he's got his shiny black leather coat on from Dark Knight. So they were clearly like compiling driving scenes to create this longer filler moment. And then he finally gets to the Raven, and Schanke is like, what is taking so long? And then it zooms out, and Nick is talking to this kind of sleazy looking vampire guy, and it's Larry Merlin.
Yes.
And Larry's like, well, it's going to be hard because they've already flagged your files. So I can't just drop records in here. I'm going to have to go all the way back to the hospital you were born in. Air
Right.
quotes.
Like previous employers and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to have to seed the records in all these different systems. It's going to cost you. And Nick's like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. Which we don't know it yet, but Nick is astronomically wealthy. Because, and there's a sword fight involved in that. And there's a funny story about that episode. But because I'm now living a spoiler-free life, I'm not going to tell you anything about it. Don't even ask me.
When you publish this, you need to hashtag spoiler-free life.
So Schanke is feeling restless and aggressive. And
he's lost track of what day of the week it is.
yeah,
and then he realizes that it's Friday. The police special weekly is out.
Yeah.
So he tries to leave and Jeanette stops him. You're not allowed to leave, Schanke.
He's like, I'm just going across the street. I'm going to buy my thingy.
I need to read my stories.
I need my stories, and then I'll be right back. And Jeanette's like, fair. Okay, fine, go. And so he's over there leaning against the side, reading his police special, and he's reading the classified ads to the woman who, like the judgy newspaper saleswoman. And he finds an ad addressed to Donut Don.
Womp womp.
And he's like, oh, shit. And so he runs off and
Meet me on memory lane.
commandeers a car. He's like, I'm a police
Straight up.
officer.
Yeah. Commandeers a civilian vehicle.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. And so Nick realizes he's missing and he calls Jeanette and he's like, the fuck, Jeanette? And she's like, I am not my Skanky's keeper. She's like, you asked me to keep an eye on him. I did. He left my line of sight and I kind of forgot he existed. Who's Schanke again? Jeanette doesn't give a shit. He is lucky she stayed focused on this long. And he's like, this is a bad situation. He's running on instinct. And Jeanette's like, how is that bad, Nick?
About 15 minutes ago, he said that he was just going across the street to buy a newspaper.
Jeanette, I thought I told you to look after him.
And I have been a good sport about it, but I am not a babysitter for your idiotic buddies.
Look, someone's out to kill him.
Then let him fight back. Come on, Nikolai, you did. Let the hunted become the hunter.
He's out of control, Jeanette. He's running on instinct.
Is that such a bad thing?
What's bad about instinct? And so we get our last little bit of flashback, which is Jeanette and Lacroix are trying to go into the basement of this barn / cabiny thingy. And she's like, come into the darkness, Nick, come with us. And he's like, no, there's one more.
Yeah, that's when he's talking like Lacroix.
Yeah. And so he kills the last hunter. And that's the end of that flashback, which was Nick killed all of them to save everybody. And so Schanke should also be afforded the chance to save his own life.
Yeah.
Is the moral of this story. And so Schanke arrives at the police precinct because Memory Lane is referring
Police Academy.
Police Academy is referring to the police academy, the training course on the police academy. And so he's on it. He's like, I'm here, you son of a bitch.
I'm here, you son of a bitch! You gonna come out and show your face?
He's on fire. This is riled Schanke, the most riled we've seen him. Usually he's pretty he's lecherous or sexist.
Yes.
But he's not aggressive, generally speaking. He's usually
This is violent Schanke.
Yeah, this is I've been cooped up in this club full of young people who make me uncomfortable for the last I don't even know how many days. And I gotta get this over with. And so meanwhile, Nick shows up to try to figure out where Schanke could have gone. And so he goes to the newspaper lady. And so she's telling him, I gave him the police special. He was reading me from the classifieds.
Here's what I was doing. I was telling him about that, and then I turned over to look at my luck box. And then when I turned back, he was gone. And by the time she gets to that point in the story, Nick is now gone.
Yeah, Nick is
She's
now gone.
like, what the fuck?
Another one. So Nick has whooshed away. That's our symbol for Nick has flown away. And then he's in the car and he's driving. And then he like screeches the car to a halt because he's talking to Stone Tree.
Right.
And Stone Tree's like, oh, yeah, memory lane. That's referring to the police academy. And Nick's like, hot damn. And so he slams on the brake in the middle of the road and then whoosh, we're off into the air again.
Don't mind the wind, Stone Tree. I just put the top down.
Exactly. Ooh, I like it. So Skanky's at the academy and he's getting taunted. And we see like a cardboard cutout and he shoots it and then he gets shot at, blah, blah, blah. And then there's another cardboard cutout. Yeah, and he shoots the other cardboard cutout. And he puts together that this is an academy washout from his class. Somebody who was a better marksman, better at everything physical, but failed the psychological evaluation.
Yep.
And he's like, they should have put you away then. You're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And the guy's like, that may be. But what I'm real mad about is I didn't get promoted at my IT job.
Because the police academy stuff was still on my record.
Yep. I'm still working for the nerd herd. I didn't get to move up to DevSecOps or whatever.
Area manager.
Area manager. Sorry. I like displaying my inadequate knowledge of IT to my resident IT person. It's a continuous source of amusement for me. But he's going up the stairs and he turns and he thinks it's another cutout, but it's
right.
not.
He sees a silhouette of a cop.
Because this is our it's just noodles, Michael moment.
Yeah.
Because he's been cut out. Oh, it's a person. No, it's a cutout. Oh, it's a person. No, it's a cutout.
Right. He shot like 3 cutouts in a row and he's like, I need to stop shooting these cutouts.
Yeah.
Because he's already refilled his gun.
Right. So this person is actually a person, just like the bottle in The Lost Boys is actually blood. And that was a spoiler. You're welcome. Oh,
yeah. Huge spoiler.
Huge. I don't feel bad about spoiling movies that are like, I don't know, like 30 some years old.
What about TV shows?
Well, no, because we're going to get there.
30 years old.
I can't do it because we're going through it. And if I spoil it, then I'm not going to get the authentic reaction that I want because it's a bananas episode. What are you looking for?
Hold on. For something like Lost Boys, you mean something that's 35 years old.
You two to shut your dirty ginger mouth right now. It's still good though. We need to do that on the pod soon. We should just have a vampire marathon. We could do Lost Boys, Near Dark. See, now look what you made me do. Now we're gonna have to watch a bunch of vampire movies. So Skanky almost gets shot by this guy who is not a cutout, but Skanky thinks he's a cutout, just like they weren't really noodles. So Nick shouts, "Watch out, Skanky!" And so Skanky turns and shoots the guy. Or Nick does. Nick has his gun out. Who shoots him? I don't think we clear that up really.
Nick shoots. What's the guy's name? McAvoy. Yeah. Nick shoots McAvoy. But that's it.
Yeah. And so Skanky's like, hey man, I'd have been toast if it wasn't for you. And they get a little bit of like partner cuddling. I don't know. They like, Nick's so touchy with everybody. It would freak me out to be around him. There's at any moment he might like hug me. So he hugs Skanky. They kind of hug it out a little bit. And we cut back to the precinct. And Norma's like, it's the weirdest thing. I tried for a whole week. I looked in all the systems and I couldn't find him. But now I just put his badge number in and look.
It's all here.
It's all here. And it's a like black and white, like broody photo. Everybody else probably has like a straight on like mugshot for their badge photo. And Nick is like 3/4 profile, like turned look over his shoulder with like coiffed hair, which is fair. Yeah. He was like, this is my good side. I just did the turn. And so, hey, he's in the computer now. And Stone Tree's like, fuck if I know, man. Computers.
can't understand it, but there he is. I looked for a week. I check every database, every department, and nothing. And then I come in here this morning, and boom, it comes right up.
Well, computers work in mysterious ways. Personally, Norma, I've never ever trusted the things.
Whatever.
And then Nick walks in.
Which
hey,
is-
Nick, where were you born?
He's like, Chicago, 1956. She's like, you mean 57? He's like, oh, yeah, it was New Year's. I always get confused about that. And then we cut to Schanke, and he's sitting at his desk because he was shot in the arm, and so he's on desk duty.
Oh, I
He's
hate
recovering.
desk duty.
And he's answering all these trivia questions correctly. And Nick's like, oh, man, you're good at that.
I didn't know you were a fan of the opera.
Yeah.
Polka, yes. Opera, no.
And Schanke gets a really cool line about how they're all beautiful in their own way. And Nick's like, oh, is that a Schanke
music.
quote?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Skanky's like, sure is. And so Schanke thanks Nick. And Nick's like, you know what, Schanke, you did a good job. You're a good cop.
Right. All that stuff he was saying, like, Stone Tree said the same thing. It takes more than shooting a gun to be a good cop.
It's not about bodies on the ground. It's not picking up bodies.
Yeah.
There's more to being a cop.
He's more than picking up dead bodies.
Yeah. And you're a good cop, Schanke. And Skanky's like, oh my God, what? Was
that a compliment?
Was that a compliment, Nick? And Nick's like, yeah, don't let it go to your head. And he's like, oh, I won't. He's like, don't worry. I won't let it go to my head. And Nick says, I'm pretty sure you've already lost that battle.
You been reading my files?
All I'm saying is that Anderson was right. There's more to being a good cop than picking up dead bodies. And you're a good cop.
Is this a compliment? I'll try not to get a swelled head.
You want me to tell you the truth?
Yeah, I want the truth.
You lost that battle a long time ago, done it?
And that's the end of the episode.
So maybe after the Lost Boys marathon, we can look at 40-year-old movies like Tron and hold on, gotta go back in the list.
Why are you trying to hurt me right now?
E.T.
Oh God, I hate E.T. I don't hate E.T.
Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, no, fuck. I'll always watch Khan. You know it. I just quoted Khan, in fact.
Yeah. The Secret of Nim. The Last Unicorn. Dark Crystal.
These are
Apparently
all
those were all
movies.
1982. 1982 was a good year.
You know what I saw the other day? A top 10 list that I saw the other day that really ground my gears. And it was top 10 vampire television shows of all time. Number 1 was Moonlight.
It was a good one.
I mean, Moonlight was good. I own Moonlight on DVD, and it gets about an annual rewatch. But Moonlight is a reboot of this show, of Forever Night. And how do you throw Moonlight, which had like 8 episodes, 2 or 3 of which are totally incomprehensible because it falls right in the middle of the 2008 writer's strike. And they lost half the season, and they had to wrap up a whole bunch of plot in like an episode so that they could have 2 or 3 coherent episodes before they had to wrap it for the season. And it never got remade, or it never got a second season because it happened right in the middle of the 2008 writer's strike. How do you put that, but you don't put Forever Night?
Was it really supposed to be a reboot of Forever Night, or was it just inspired by?
It's inspired by the vampire detective, vampire cop, vampire investigator. You know, like Angel is like a vampire cop. At least he is when he first starts.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, that becomes less and less of a thing.
Kind of like Harry Dresden.
Yeah.
Does less and less PI work and more saving the world and the universe.
Yeah, with great power comes greater plot stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need the private investigator plot hook.
Right. No, that's not necessary to drive it anymore. But I mean, this does, because we stick with it, which is fine. It's great.
Right.
You know me, I love a Monster of the Week.
Yeah, serialized drama.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been waiting for a while to get that off my chest. That why the fuck was Forever Night not even on the list?
Was there anything else on the list that was noteworthy?
I mean, none that I haven't seen before. It was all the Vampire Diaries and all the Vampire Diaries spinoffs, which I have strong opinions about. And then Moonlight. and a couple other ones that I had already seen. But this one wasn't even on the list, which there's not that many.
Maybe it was like the top vampire TV shows of the last 20 years.
You. You found a button and you're just like,
poke.
What would happen if I just keep pushing it? It's fine. You're older than me. So.
Yep.
It's older man prerogative. Well, Pippin's already asleep and we're already in bed. So I feel like a natural conclusion to this episode is to just wrap things up. So we don't really have any news in particular. PodLab's coming along. I put a teaser picture of it up on Instagram the other day. So I'll post some more progress pics tomorrow. I keep the Instagram pretty updated. It's sort of a smorgasbord of whatever's in Rachel's mind that day, really. So it's kind of an interesting glimpse into my thought processes. And I like to think my captions are pretty funny. They make me laugh. So, yeah. Hey, I got genuine interaction today.
I saw that.
Yeah, it wasn't a bot. It was actually somebody answering a question, which I thought was really good. I was very excited. I was like, oh, I got my first real Instagram comment. I mean, Kate comments and my sister comments, but this is somebody that I'm not related to and is under no obligation to comment
purely
on my Instagram
because
stuff.
of the podcast.
And I've been meaning to take a screenshot of every Matt's bi-weekly Instagram login where he goes and likes all the stuff. And
I'm under orders.
I get all these notifications and they're all
gotta feed the algorithm.
Matt's username is liked all these things. And I had a reel the other day that got 20 likes in one day. So, I mean, that's basically viral. So,
woohoo.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm kind of a big deal. Got 31 followers now. I feel like I should give the count every single time. I don't know. I'm just really proud of my little Instagram page. I'm having a lot of fun, which is the point.
Yes.
That's the point.
Yeah.
We also have a suggestion form if anybody wants to throw some suggestions our way. I was thinking we could start doing a sci-fi movie, horror movie, fantasy movie in sequence. Because we've done a lot of sci-fi, we've done a lot of fantasy. We've underserved horror a little bit. But I feel like if we put them in sequence, then people will be like, okay, I know the first week of the month is when they put out their sci-fi. I mean, that way we can give the people what they want on a schedule. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're going to start doing that. I'm trying to get Matt to give me some suggestions, which, guys, it's going to be Gattaca. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's going to be Gattaca and Stargate. Yeah.
The first one, absolutely not.
It was so going to be Gattaca.
No.
What was it going to be?
Definitely not the second one.
Stargate. Fun fact. Anybody want to know a fun fact? I was in labor with our second child. I was like, Matt.
Gladiator is also on the list.
I was like, Matt, can you please put on a movie? I need to be distracted. And I hear the walking through the wheat music from Gladiator. It's like, did you just...
It's a really good movie.
Did you just fucking put on Gladiator when I was in labor? Yeah, no, he totally did.
It's a good background movie.
I mean, it's a good movie. It's a great movie. Is it a labor movie? I don't know. Which, how old is Gattaca? It's got to be 30 years old now. It's late 90s.
It's late 90s, so it's 25.
Oh, we also have a website while Matt is looking that up, and it is Strangeandbeautiful.club. And I have all sorts of links on there. But if you follow me on Instagram, I do have a link tree in our
25 years, exactly.
I do have a link tree in our...
What is Linktree?
Do you know what Linktree is?
I've only ever heard you say the words Linktree. I have one. There is a Linktree here. I don't know what Linktree is.
It's just a page that has links on it. It's like a
website.
Yeah, it's like a website, but I don't have to build it. I just tell Linktree, please include all these links. And it's like, cool, you want to pay so we don't put Linktree branding on it? And I go, I don't give a shit if you put Linktree branding on it. It's because that makes it free.
So it's just... It's literally a web page with
It's
links
one
on it.
link that somebody can click on, and it has all the. Well, not everybody's website is just links, okay? Some people's websites have a bunch of shit on it, and if you don't want to wade through the shit, if you don't want to wade through a river of shit and come out clean on the other
there's
side,
more than one page on a website.
you can just, you know what? There are different ways that people interact with the internet, okay? And some people like going to independent websites, and some
There's
people.
one way to interact with the internet from the command line.
Okay, not all of us have been using computers since IT guys had to wear lab coats, okay?
Hey, I never got to wear a lab coat. I'm feeling gypped out on this.
You should just buy yourself one.
I worked in a hardware lab. I didn't have to wear a lab coat. I didn't get to wear a lab
You
coat.
should just buy yourself one and embroider on the thing like Matt, and then put your little whatever computer designation.
The only thing they said was we had to wear closed-toed shoes, but I still wore my flip-flops.
God, you're such a rebel.
I'm such a rebel.
Oh, I love a bad boy. Okay, we gotta get that. Stop. You're distracting me from wrapping this up, okay? So I will show you what a link tree is after this by going to my Instagram page and looking at my profile where the link tree lives. Okay, it's where it grows and blossoms.
Is this the third ending of the episode?
Yeah. Well, you keep fucking distracting me. It's where the link tree lives. Okay, so remember.
And then you remembered.
You gotta say your ending.
Remember, sometimes the strangest things are the most beautiful too.
So be who you are and love what you love. Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
You never feel safe when you're the hunted.